there. Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you are doing well. Well, I tell you what, guys, this one was definitely a difficult one for me. Oh my goodness, we are losing way too many people. And unfortunately, we have now come together for another opportunity to reflect on that. As you can see here, we're going to be talking about Miss Ananda Lewis, really, truly a staple of a time and an era that is so beloved by so many of us. You know, the 80s and the 90s up to the early 2000s was really the epitome of time for music, television, music videos, hosting gigs, all that type of fun stuff that really made the music that we would listen to, and that was part of our soundtrack of our lives, be even more enriched by the thoughtfulness of the hosting that we had in those times. The real conversations during shows like Teen Summit, which Miss Ananda was one of the hosts there, and that actually was one of my favorite shows, and in that time, and continues to be one of those shows that I find so beloved because it was a place for people to get together, young people to get together and talk about real issues and real conversation and coming to a meeting of the minds of both sides of what was going on and whatever was being discussed with so much respect and knowledge and wisdom shared every single week. It was just one of those shows that was so fun to get home real quick too, depending on when it came on. I think at one point I remember being on Saturdays. So just taking that time, hour, 2 hours, whatever it was at the time, to sit and be a part of that discussion, from home, and actually taking the conversations that we would hear on the show and having them in your home. So it was definitely one of those beautiful staples. And oh my goodness, it's just so unfortunate to see that we have lost another legend in my eyes, and I'm sure in many's eyes. Ananda Lewis is just, she's that person, and she's very much a formative individual that's been a part, kind of like a landmark through that time, and continued to be, and has such a beautiful spirit, and just was, just so fun to, watch. We knew, we had our favorites, and, she just really brought the party through the hosting. And, it was just a good time. It was a really, really good time. And so here we are again, doing a remembrance and reflection, and I want to take the opportunity to do that. As you know, this is breaking news yesterday evening, I believe, and now it's it's kind of really hitting out there. So let's go ahead and take some time to just reflect and remember on Miss Ananda Lewis. All right, so that being said, we are going to get into our sharing. And yeah, it is coming to us by way of People. And it shares that Ananda Lewis, former MTV VJ and talk show host, dies at 52. Now, Lewis had revealed in 2020 that she had been diagnosed with breast cancer, which I do, and maybe many of you probably remember when she actually went on live on Instagram at that time to share that news, which at hearing it at that time, obviously was extremely devastating to a lot of us. So Ananda Lewis, again, has died, and it says that the former MTV VJ sister, Lakshmi, announced news of her death in a Facebook post shared on Wednesday, June 11th. She's free and in his heavenly arms, she wrote alongside a series of broken heart emojis and a black and white portrait of Lewis, Lord rest her soul. Now, Lewis became well known in 1997 when she was hired to be one of MTV's VJs, hosting shows like Total Request Live and Hot Zone in 1999. And the New York Times dubbed her the hip hop generation's reigning it girl. She left MTV in 2001 to host her own talk show, The Ananda Lewis Show. Now, Lewis had revealed in 2020 Instagram post that she had been diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. She said that she had not been getting regular mammograms because of her fear of radiation. And in October of 2024, Lewis had took part in a roundtable discussion with CNN Stephanie Alam, her friend from college, and CNN anchor Sarah Sider, in which she revealed that she went against medical advice and did not have a double mastectomy after she was diagnosed. Her tumor had metastasized and her cancer had progressed to stage 4, she had shared. My plan at first was to get out excessive toxins in my body. I felt like my body is intelligent. I know that to be true. Our bodies are brilliantly made, Lewis said. I decided to keep my tumor and tried to work it out of my body a different way. I wish I could go back. It's important for me to admit where I went wrong with this. In an essay she published in Essence in January, Lewis emphasized that prevention is the real cure for cancer and urged women to pay attention to their bodies. We're not meant to stay here forever. We come to this life, have experiences, and then we go, she wrote. Being real about that with yourself changes how you choose to live. I don't want to spend one more minute than I have to suffering unnecessarily. That for me is not the quality of life I'm interested in. When it's time for me to go, I want to be able to look back all my life and say I did that exactly how I wanted to. Now, Lewis was born in Los Angeles in 1973, and her parents divorced when she was 2. And she and her sister, Lakshmi, I want to make sure I'm saying that right, moved with her mother to live with their grandmother in San Diego. And in 1999, Lewis had opened up to Teen People about her difficult relationship with her mother as a child and teenager. Mom was overwhelmed from the get-go, devastated by the divorce and working hard to support 2 kids, she said. But Lewis felt neglected and built up a lot of resentment toward her. By the time I was 10, I became a belligerent, rebellious kid, and my mother and I were fighting about everything, she explained. She attended an arts high school and spent her time in school plays and volunteering. After graduating from Howard University in 1995, she landed a job as the host of BET's Teen Summit, which filmed in DC, and in one episode, she actually interviewed then First Lady Hillary Clinton. That experience got me noticed at MTV, and in August of 1997, I moved to New York and started working there, she told Teen People. Months earlier, in December of 1996, she had reconciled with her mother after a period of estrangement. I decided to close the chapter on being hateful and resentful toward my mom and open a new one that focused on love, forgiveness, and appreciation for her, she explained. Now, Lewis had become one of MTV's most popular hosts in the past. Our talent was sometimes just pretty people who could read cue cards. Bob Cusick, then MTV's senior vice president for production, told the New York Times in 1999 about her talents. But when we brought Ananda to MTV, we decided we were going to do a lot more live television, and I was first and foremost interested in her ability to do live TV. Yeah, because Ananda was great. She really was. Lewis interviewed celebrities including Destiny's Child, Brandy, NSYNC, Britney Spears, and many more. Maybe many of you have seen those interviews firsthand. She also ended up covering heavier topics for the network, including violence in schools and the 2001 death of Aaliyah, who was her close friend and who myself personally is still not over her passing. Now, in 2000, people named Lewis one of the 50 most beautiful people in the world. She also made frequent appearances at celebrity events. Even Prince was a vocal fan. He told the New York Times, Ananda is Cleopatra. You know she's a queen. Now, Lewis had left MTV, her role there is, in 2001, and began hosting her Epiness talk show. I wanted a change, she told Teen People at the time. It was a matter of proving to myself that I can do this, and the series, which premiered September 10th, 2001, had apparently lasted 1 season. Now, reflecting on this series too, Shauna Lamb, Lewis said, I wish I had stopped the people that wanted me to do the talk show and said, not yet. It's a little too early to do this. It was overkill for me. She said she wasn't happy with the show, explaining it wasn't what I felt like I signed up for. Now, Lewis had took a break from television and later appeared as a host on The Insider, a spinoff of Entertainment Tonight. And she also appeared on the reality series Celebrity Mole Yucatan and hosted at A&E's America's Top Interesting Dog and TLC's While You Were Out. I was not familiar with that. Now, Lewis also became a contractor and carpenter. Wow, woman of many talents. Now, MTV News shut down in 2023, and Lewis reflected in a statement to People at the time. She says, a pillar of creative and diverse speech is crumbling. MTV News covered things no one else could. We could get inside the trailer with DMX and Korn as they were taking historic concert stages. Artists trusted MTV News to tell their stories, and they most certainly did. Like MTV and VH1, MTV in particular, and BET as well. It was a huge thing, and it was. We got the exclusives. It felt like on everything. You felt like you were part of that, and it was just really a great time. She added, even though I was technically a VJ, I did many specials with MTV News, and now firsthand what a huge loss this is for the culture of music and who love it. In 2011, Lewis had welcomed son Langston with Harry Smith, brother of Will Smith. Now Lewis is survived by her son. And that breaks my heart because, he's so young, and I could just only, honestly, could just only imagine what he is going through. I'm sure that Ananda did her best to prepare him for this time, and I would feel that they spent a lot of time together and there was a lot of love there. And, you could just always see that in Ananda when she was on screen. She just really, really brightened up whatever was going on at that time and whatever was being discussed at that time. And she just did it with such a beautiful way of conveying that to everyone. And, she's just loved, and she's going to be sorely missed. She is part of the culture, and she will always have her prominence in our time. And I'm just so happy, to know that I'm living in a lifetime with so many greats that have been here, and unfortunately have lost so many of them. But to have been in a space and time where they have existed is such a blessing. So with that, I thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time. Definitely share your thoughts down below in the comment section. Are you familiar with the shows that I talked about? If you are, look, it's not like they were not shows that were popular, right? But let me know the ones that you're a favorite. What hosting gigs and shows that you enjoy, what Teen Summit conversations that you enjoy. And just, definitely share your thoughts down below. I would so appreciate it. I thank her also for her opportunity, her vulnerability, and sharing her journey, and the things that she wish she would have been able to have done differently, but being very honest and transparent in the decisions that she made within her journey, and really being able to say she did it her way, and that was something that was important for her. And this is something that we can always take from being able to forge our paths and doing what we will with things, and really beating expectations and odds. And I just love that about her. And she'll forever be missed. So with that, thank you again for being here. I so do appreciate it. I do believe I'll be trying to drop 2 more videos down today. So be sure to make sure you have your all notification bells on so you don't miss those videos. And if you are new here, I hope that you will hit the subscribe button and be part of the family, because I would so love to have you. I appreciate you all for your continued viewing and listening support. Again, drop down your thoughts down below in the comment section. And with that, I think I'm going to bid you adieu, but you take care, be safe, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye.